we are in a world towards distributed computing, right? 2G was about voice. Long are those days gone. Data, 2x data. And then there was the cloud, and now edge. And as we connect more and more things, we're really getting to a fundamental shift in what 5G is. It's as much about computing as it is about communication. So when we talk about climate impact and 5G, we have to look at both of it together. And with that in mind, the other thing that is happening is the world, or how we do it, is changing. There was a time when it was like 6 months push-to-talk advertisements in the 1990s or so. Now you can do it in hours, minutes even. This flexibility comes because we have a much more open system, but it's also a software-enabled system, and the entire network is very different from the days when it was all precision equipment, right? And this revolution continues. The players in this ecosystem also change. And given 5G is very compute intensive, and we talk about ubiquitous computing, I will also focus a little bit from the compute aspects of how we actually have to solve this problem. Why are we here? We all know why we are here. But I want to talk about why we are here. Because we also have a role to play, right? We contribute to this. If you look at the ICT electricity usage, and the US is a disproportionate share of this, it's only growing exponentially. Sure, we have techniques, beamforming, you name it, device-to-device communications. But our use of it, we are enabling a society that is intelligent, mobile, connected, devices that are connected, which means our use of it is growing. So as much as we are improving how we design things, we still have a long way to go. And so if you look at the 5G projections, right, because we live in a connected world, we have more to contribute. Now, one of the graphs you see, it's basically about wind and solar. The good news is there's a lot of renewable energy. That's another thing I wanted to point out. We talk a lot about data centers consuming a lot of electricity. Let's look at the network usage. It's even higher than the data center, no matter what estimates you look at, which means there's a financial, operational, business, and use case incentive to solve this problem. And whenever we put our minds to something, we solve it. As Meredith was talking, right? Look at the pandemic. This industry played the pivotal role in helping education and many other aspects. So similarly, this is actually an opportunity because there's a business, financial, use case, and all of these imperatives that are together. And so that's why we're here. We heard a lot about how the 5G ecosystem can contribute to sustainability, right? There's all these use cases. And personally, I'm in Portland, Oregon, and we had 117-day degrees in June last year. We actually broke all records in recorded history, and we had snow 2-3 weeks ago. So we live this problem from a day to day, and on top of it, there's a drought, right? And so things like precision agriculture and help the farmer, help the wells from becoming dry, and help in so many different ways. So I'm very, very optimistic that, as you heard from Nicholas and everyone else, about all these different verticals and how each vertical is going to go take advantage of the technology to make it more efficient and better, whether it's cities, manufacturing, transportation, agriculture, and on and on. So there's a lot of work that this ecosystem can do because of the information that goes with it. Data centers have been looking at this problem for a long while. We at Intel have to look at the PC design, the data center design, and as we work with hyperscalers, one of the challenges is renewable energy, the location of renewable energy, and when it's produced may or may not coincide with high usage or when it's needed, called the stranded energy problem. So a response to it is more carbon responsive computing, which means we are looking at things on how we can have them be time shifted, the workloads, or space shifted, run elsewhere. These and other techniques, including the designs, actually directly apply to the networks because, as we explained before, right, the networks is as much about computing, especially as we head even beyond 5G, as it is about communications. Here's the other thing that's very exciting. If you look at all the work that's being designed into the future generations or the evolving generations of 5G, and what we call like 2030 and how we are headed towards it, it's the concept. It's really not about speeds and feeds anymore. It's about scale. It's about low power and an order of magnitude increase in performance, but power consumption by 100th of what it is today, energy efficiency, green space, how do you use resiliency, how do you use a green future. So every organization or every standards body that is contributing to the space is actually looking at designing it from the get-go before anything else. So that's something that I'm very optimistic about. And we're all talking about an order of magnitude difference, which then helps the problem statement. I'm going to shift gears. Intel is one of the largest manufacturing plants in the world, and it's also on its way to be a foundry. Now, with this, we are looking at this whole project in a very comprehensive way. We have a framework which is called our RISE framework for 2030. We've been on this journey for many years, but given we have a manufacturing background, we will use our expertise and help solve this using a lot of the precision and the techniques that we have involved there. Our RISE framework is of 4 components. Responsible. Responsible is about how we engage. For example, what's our response to the pandemic? How do we deal with conflict minerals? What is like human trafficking, like making sure we don't have human trafficking? All these things that help us be responsible because it's about the supply chain. Inclusive. This is basically around digital inclusion, D&I, all different kinds of inclusion around like different kinds of communities. And how do we make this technology fully inclusive? Sustainable. That's what we are talking about here today. But the reason it's a part of the RISE framework is because if we can achieve sustainability without looking at the other aspects of the RISE framework, we think we have failed, right? Because all of it is important. So sustain, and then enabling, which is the E, which is the technology and the other things like volunteer programs that enable this entire framework. So all of these together is how we look at our RISE framework at Intel. And the reason I say this is because 5G requires chips, and chips are made in manufacturing. And that's how all of this ties together. So if you look at our sustainability goals, I will focus on the sustainable or the S in the RISE area. And what I forgot to say is Intel has also taken a climate pledge for net zero by 2040. And again, this had started a long time ago, and we have a long way to go. So sustainable. We want to achieve 100% renewable energy, and we're about 82% there. I'm talking globally. And this is from our 2020 report. Our 2021 report will come out soon. Water usage. We want to get to net zero water usage, and we're about 90% there. And zero waste. In 2020, 5% of the total waste was what we had sent away. So essentially, a lot of work was done by 2020, and we continue to do the work so we get to these ambitious goals by 2030. And again, in a few weeks, we'll have the reports that are coming out. So that's the S in the sustainable framework. And then we have gotten many of the recognitions that we had in sustainability. And just this year, in last quarter, Just Capital gave us the #1 award for environmental and social quality score. So we're very, very proud. And we want to take this manufacturing, this RISE framework, this supply chain, and combine it with the technology development, the research development, the use cases, and the business values, and have that be a framework through which we hope to contribute, or we will be contributing, and we are contributing to the climate impact, which is 5G and beyond. So To close, I wanted to say that we are in this journey together, whether we are regular. And one of the things I really, really like about this summit is it has the government, the policies, the regulators, and all of these have to come together, right? And the other thing that I really believe in is this is a business imperative, right? We save money, we save time, we save cost when we do it right. And at the end of the day, we have lakes drying up and other things like that. So we have to solve this problem on many, many levels, not because it's the right thing, not only because it's good for the environment, but also because it's good for each one of us. And this requires all of us to come together. And so with that, I'd like to say thank you for having me here.